Video 3. This time I don't really have what I had hoped I would have had for video 3, but I do have something different and potentially better. What I had anticipated doing was to allow a user to select a star system and then to have that star system with a breakout user interface element above it that would kind of give you a little bit of information. This turned out to be a little more difficult than I had anticipated, at least from the prototyping phase that I'm in right now. The Unity's user interface designer is powerful, but also potentially confusing for new developers, especially hobbyist developers who aren't used to this kind of thing. So I did manage to get a little bit of a UI on to each star, but it wasn't operating correctly. So what I thought, rather than do that, was to actually have the main user interface handle two distinct bits of information. The first is the current star system information, which would include the star system name, of course, the star type, as well as a list of stellar bodies and all of the stations that are located there. But we would also provide information on any star system that you're not currently in, but that you select. The potential issue with this, of course, would be that we can't provide you with all of the information or all of the updated information for the system that you've selected, because we want you to go there in order to find out what the deal is. So if you were to click on a system and you were to get an up-to-date listing of, the planets there and whether there was a station there and so on and so forth, you could essentially just click around to all of the systems that are visible to you, and you would be able to get as much information as possible without actually having to go there. We want to make sure that you are constantly on the move and that you can do very little remotely. I did come up with some ideas, for hiring NPCs that could report, station commodity prices to you as kind of a money sink, but that's something totally different. Actually, stepping back before we go too far, I did decide to deep six the whole 3D map item because I found that losing track of the system that you're currently in from a viewport perspective could get potentially confusing. I would have to come up with a user interface element that kind of outlined the system that you're currently in order for you to get back to it if you were scrolling around the map. So instead, what we're doing is we're doing a 2D map, and we are using an orbital camera that will orbit the system that you're currently in. So all of this actually is working to a limited degree. So let's take a little look here. So we've got let's start the start the system. Okay, so we've got I've already got game data loaded into the game state. So we're gonna load our game, and what we've got now is our current map as we know it. So we've got our orbital camera. This right here, this is not actually our current information. This is just placeholder. But this is our current station. It is a K-class star with the name DMM 6825. We can rotate around it. We do have a little bit of a lag going on there, but we can rotate around it, and we can kind of get a better sense of, scale by moving the camera up and down. We can zoom out a little bit. I want to also allow us to zoom in so we can get some, better graphical fidelity here. The systems, the placement still uses the same basic algorithm that I had come up with for the 3D placement of the stars, and I kind of think it needs a little tweaking. These may be a little bit too far out from one another. The scanner, I believe, is set at, I'm not sure, a certain range. So all you're seeing right now are essentially the systems that are within scanner range. So as we saw, we can click on this and we'll get our selected information. This would normally be your current system. So we would have the name and the star class, and then what I was going to do is have, all of the stellar bodies here. So you would kind of see like I don't know, an arc, the arc of the stellar body here, and they would kind of overlap each other like cards in a card catalog for us old folk. And we would have an icon kind of off to the side for each stellar body that had a station. You could click on that station to dock, and we would use this viewport here for the docking, for all of your station activities. This would essentially put the main UI, this is your current system, this is your selected system, and we might have a little bit of ship information up here, but we'd have, the majority of ship information down here, including some kind of information about, what you have in your cargo hold or your scanner range or fuel and, other useful information. Another option, of course, would be to have our event ticker kind of running up top here. So if it says, the food shortage let's go over here. In food shortage in BBQ 3765. I guess they're running out of sauce. You could have that information showing up here along the top, so you could then, find, oh, I'm right next to BBQ 3765. Let's go there. So here we've got a button. We've selected BBQ 3765, and we have a button that says Travel XXU. The XXU is how much fuel you'll expend getting from your current location to your selected destination. This would only be active, obviously, if you had enough fuel in your fuel tank to make the trip. If you didn't, we'd probably turn this into one of those black and yellow warning signs for the background and disable the button. So you couldn't actually travel. But this would let you know, basically, for everything that you clicked, the distance and how much fuel it would use. So when we want to travel, let's say we want to go to barbecue, we can click on the travel, and we'll essentially move to that system. I have to tweak the speed of the motion to get us there, probably based on, I don't know. I don't know if I want to make it variable or what, or just to slow it down a little bit to kind of give you that feeling that you're traveling. So as you noticed, now our current system is BBQ 3765. This would be where you would see active information. Since now you're in the actual system, you would have information on what's in the system. We've also cleared out, we've got nothing selected, and our travel button essentially doesn't work. We've disabled it. One of the things you may have also noticed is now we can see other systems beyond barbecue. Previously, we were over here at this system, DMM 6825, but if we travel back to DMM 6825, you'll notice that we can't see any of the systems beyond barbecue, and that's not just an LOD situation. This is a case of whenever we move, we essentially destroy all the systems that are outside of your scanner range, and then we repop with new systems that are within your scanner range based on your current location. So this basically is how we are going to limit your knowledge of the universe. You can always, of course, see back to the system you just came from because it's within your scanner range. But you could also see, some other systems which are also in your scanner range. This system was here when we were over here at DMM. So this is basically, what I've gotten so far. Some of the things that I'd like to potentially do is that when you select a system, I'd like to draw a line to show you the potential route. It's a straight line. It's always going to be a straight line, but so that you know when you select this, that this is where you're going. I would like to have an indicator, some kind of a user interface indicator, just to let you know that, here's an indicator for the system that you're selected, even though you're orbiting it. So there's really no ambiguity there. You can't get anywhere else. It's always going to be at the center of your screen, whether you're high or low. But I do want to, kind of differentiate it from the items that are out around you. And I do want to have some kind of a user interface to show you what you're selecting, beyond this, because this doesn't mean anything over here. It would help if we had a line and then some kind of an indicator and some kind of an indicator here, so the two systems you're dealing with. One of the other potential things I was thinking about is to update this data over here on hover. So basically, as you're kind of kicking around here, you've got like you've got information that kind of updates. So it may just be, I don't know, maybe we'd just pop the. What I wanted to do for the indicator essentially was to have the name, the faction, the status of the star system, whether it's on lockdown or in famine or civil war, or whether your faction standing just isn't good enough to get in there, or if it's if it is good enough to get in there. So you could hover over something and get a quick view, at a glance as to what's going on. Another option, of course, would be to have that kind of information permanent, but as we can see here in this situation, that would mean overlapping user interface, which would end up being rather confusing and kind of crowded. So if I could pull it off so that we could see it when you hover over it, basically that would be a lot better. Even if it's just the information that kind of hovers here, and then when we click it, it's more permanent. We get that information, plus we get some information over here. But so far so good. Everything that I'm trying to do, I'm able to do thus far, which is good. I'm having a good time with all of this. The question is, how many star systems are out here? This is kind of a bad situation if we get out of the way out here. And clicking on that guy is kind of difficult. He's kind of the corner case. Really, he doesn't really have. There's not a lot of places to go. Woohoo! Out here, but yeah, this is probably a case of trying to figure out the optimal distance for each of these locations. For these star systems, to make sure that you're never going to start off at a location that you can't get somewhere else, because that would essentially bring the game to a screeching halt even before it starts. So next, I am going to try and figure out a way to get some kind of an indicator on all of these guys based on the one that you're currently in, as well as the star that you're currently selected. I'm not sure if I'm going to work on the hover. That would be really nice to have, but I'm not sure if that's kind of in the cards right now. But I do want to be able to indicate which system you're currently in and which system you're currently selected. So that's the plan. If I deviate from the plan again and come up with something else really cool, progress-wise, then video number 4 will end up being just that.